Alright guys, so in this video we're going to be talking about how to create a custom audience. So custom audiences are extremely beneficial because we can actually begin to create retargeting ads and lookalike audience ads. So do not worry if you do not know what either of those are, right? But basically, to create a custom audience, we can actually create a advertisement for people who visited our website, who for people who visited our page, who people who visited our who liked our page, right? We can create advertisements for all of these unique things, right? And this is extremely beneficial because it's not only going to allow us to, really, remarket ourselves, but the cost of advertising this way is going to be dirt cheap, right? So we're going to be able to not only build our brand recognition a little bit deeper, but the cost of advertising is going to be extremely cheap, right? So there's many different, audiences that you can create, right? But for this example, we'll do an engagement audience, right? So what we can do is we can create a list of people who have interacted with our page on Facebook, right? And once we get 1,000 to 2,000 people engaged with our Facebook page, which is very easy, right? It does not take a long time to have 1,000 to 2,000 people engaged with our Facebook page, right? We can then begin to retarget these people, and these people are going to have a much better chance of not only going to our store but also purchasing items on our store, right? So basically we have our dummy page, right? And we can do everyone who is engaged with our page in the last 365 days. We can do in the last 60 days, right? And let's see, we can do in the last 60 days, right? And basically all you have to do is just name your audience, right? So we'll do edge gardening. You always want to name your audiences because basically it's going to allow you to really, be able to see which audience is which, right? Because once you start creating a lot of different custom audiences, it can get very crazy in here, and you might actually lose, lose pace of which audience is which, right? So it's going to take a couple minutes to actually populate, right? And I would not be surprised if there's nothing that actually comes up here because this is just a dummy account and no one actually has visited the page. But what we're going to do is just let this actually load up, and hopefully it does create a audience for us. And if it does, we can then go back into our ads manager and I can walk you through creating an ad with this custom audience. So what we can actually do while this is loading up is we'll talk a little bit about lookalike audiences and why you need to be using this as soon as you possibly can, right? So to get to this page, right, all you have to do is hit audience, or all you have to do is hit this little button, head over to audiences, right? We are right here, but what you would do to actually create a lookalike audience is hit create audience, lookalike audience, right? And what these lookalike audiences actually are is they are people who are similar to your existing audience, right? So when we run a Facebook advertisement, we are plugging in interests and behaviors and demographics, right? And then we're running our ad to these potential customers, right? But with a lookalike audience, what we're doing is we are giving Facebook the name of these people and their email address and some other additional information if you have it, right? But a name and an email address is all you really need to create a powerful lookalike audience. But what this does is once you give this information to Facebook, what they're going to do is they're going to read the data of the email address and they are going to create a audience that is extremely identical to that user, right? And Facebook has so much data on so much people and on pretty much everyone who is using Facebook, right? So if this person who lives in, I don't know, California likes dogs, and you have 100 of these people who purchased a product on your store, what you can do is you can come over to Facebook and create a lookalike audience of people who are very identical to these users who actually have purchased your product, right? And you could do this for people who have visited your website, for people who have, engaged with your post, right? But to get really powerful, and the real powerful way to do lookalike audience ads is by basically getting your customer data, and your customer data is people who have actually purchased products on your store, and then creating a lookalike audience around these users, right? So if you want to learn more, all you have to do is click the Learn More button, and basically it just gives you a brief, overview of what lookalike audiences is, right? And it's very simple, right? But what you would do is you'd have to upload your audience, right? And then you can, search for countries to actually target. And then down here is the audience size, right? And the sizes range from 1 to 10%, right? With 1% being the most clearly and most identical people that match your information that you provided to Facebook, right? So 1% is by far going to be the most accurate, with 10% being a little bit less accurate, right? But guys, lookalike audiences are extremely powerful. So let's actually go ahead and check and see if this actually is completed and it is populated, right? And if not, we can see if I can show you guys a good example of basically how to run these custom audience advertisement campaigns, right? But let's check it out. And that's okay. So it's still populating, right? But let's see if we can actually create our advertisement while it's still populating, or if I can at least just show you how to do it, right? So we're going to come over to Ads Manager, right? And this is how we actually create our advertisements. And what we'll do is we'll just come over here to create, and we can actually create a campaign. And again, we'll give it a few seconds to load, right? And we'll just do, engagement, right? Not a big deal because we're not actually going to be running this ad. I just want to show you guys an example of how to create this audience. So we just got to confirm this. That's okay. But basically, where you would plug in your interests for your advertisement, you would just plug in your custom audience, right? So right here where it says custom audience, you would add a custom audience. Whoa, what happened? You would just add a custom audience here, or lookalike audience, right? And basically we have, perfect, we have our edge gardening last 60 days, and that's all you would do, right? And again, you could actually, add multiple custom audiences or lookalike audiences in your one campaign if you wanted to. And basically, you could really do anything you want, right? I would recommend that you keep each custom audience separate and run ads in separate, advertisements, right? But again, you could do whatever you like, and of course you can, test and experiment, right? And you could also use a custom audience with also detailed targeting, right? And you can exclude people if you want, right? But this is how you run a Facebook ad with a custom audience, right? It's going to be much cheaper than your interest and behavior targeting, and lookalike audiences are an incredible way to let Facebook handle pretty much all of the targeting for you. So guys, that is it for this video. I will see you guys on the next one.